Welcome back to the deep dive. You've sent us a fantastic stack of sources, and they all seem to be tackling, really, the single most urgent problem in modern AI.
Factuality.
Factuality.
It's the paradox of the decade, isn't it?
Mm.
Large language models, or LLMs,
Yeah.
they're just phenomenal in their ability to generate this fluent, compelling text.
But
But they are notoriously unreliable. That factually inaccurate information, or hallucinations, it's the Achilles heel of the whole field.
And if you're planning to use these systems for anything high stakes, medical research, legal summaries, financial analysis, reliability isn't a bonus, it's the core requirement. So our mission today is to give you a shortcut through the noise. We're looking at two very distinct, very powerful strategies the industry is using to solve this factuality crisis.
We've got two clear paths laid out in your source material. First, there's the broad, comprehensive measurement approach.
The big picture.
Exactly.
Mm.
And a great example is Google's new FACTS Leaderboard.
Mm.
And there's the second path,
The specialized one.
the specialized architectural solution, neurosymbolic AI, and specifically this small but powerful framework called GraphMERT.
Okay, so you can't fix a problem until you can measure it accurately. So let's jump right into how the industry is trying to get a holistic view of LLM truthfulness, starting with this FCTS leaderboard.
Well, measuring LLM factuality is tricky because it really splits into two different scenarios, two different jobs for the model.
Okay.
First, there's grounding. This is when the model has some context, say a document, an image, and its job is to stick only to the facts within that source,
And the second one is parametric factuality.
which is much riskier.
Right. This is the model just relying on its internal memorized world knowledge, the data it learned during pre-training.
With no external tools. It's just what it knows.
And that separation is so vital. A model might be brilliant at summarizing a document you give it,
That's grounding.
but terrible at accurately recalling a random date from memory.
That's parametric. The Google FACTS Leaderboard is designed to capture this whole spectrum. It averages performance across 4 different sub-leaderboards to produce one single unifying FACTS score.
What's fascinating here is that the leaderboard moves past just simple Q&A. It recognizes that modern LLMs need to be tested on different functions.
Exactly. These 4 pillars, they really reflect the real-world capabilities we expect from these systems now.
So let's break them down.
Let's start with the most complex pillar, FACTS Multimodal. This benchmark is testing how a model can integrate visual grounding. So, looking at an image with its general world knowledge to answer a question about that image.
Right. And the sources highlight this really clever evaluation method here. They use a human-authored rubric, which gives you 2 main metrics.
Right. You have coverage, which is basically, we recall, did the response include all the necessary facts?
And then you have no contradiction.
Which is precision. Did the response state anything that contradicted the rubric, common knowledge, or the image itself?
This immediately reveals a crucial design tension, not just for developers, but for you, the listener, when you're deciding which model to use.
It does. The Gemini model family, according to the data, is much more recall-oriented. It's focused on high coverage.
Getting everything in there.
Whereas the GPT models, they prioritize precision. They consistently get the highest no contradiction scores.
Right.
So you're trading off thoroughness for strict accuracy.
That is a massive insight. Okay, now let's pivot to the pure memory test, CCT parametric. The closed book benchmark, this is just raw LLM recall.
And the quality of the data here is just critical. The questions, they reflect what real users are interested in, but they were also adversarially sampled.
Which means they intentionally filtered out the easy stuff.
Exactly. No easy, common factoids. This makes sure the models can't just guess their way to a good score. Plus, every single correct answer is backed by Wikipedia, which is the assumed training source.
And this brings us to a fascinating model behavior nugget about strategic uncertainty. We see this comparison between GPT-03 and GPT-5.
And the difference is startling.
It is. GPT-5 hedges, meaning it just refuses to answer way more often.
It's 13.3% of the time.
13.3%. Compared to what for GPT-03?
A mere 1.9%.
So that calculated hedging, it leads to a trade-off. GPT-03 has higher raw accuracy, right? It tries more, so it gets more right.
But GPT-5's strategic refusal gives it a superior F1 score.
Wait, hold on. Isn't that almost cheating? If GPT-5 is just refusing to answer 13% of the time, that boosts its F1 score, that holistic measure of precision and recall.
I see what you mean.
But for the average user who actually needed an answer, a refusal is still a failure, isn't it?
That's exactly the tension the sources want you to see. It shows that GPT-5 is built to prioritize not being wrong over being comprehensive.
I see.
For any user who needs verifiable accuracy in a high-stakes context, that strategic retreat is actually a really valuable signal. The model is basically saying, I'd rather say nothing than make a factual error.
That really helps reframe what a high F1 score means in practice. Okay, moving on to the reality of AI in 2024. FACTS search. This tests how well the models generate factual answers by talking to a search tool.
Specifically, the Brave Search API in this case. And this test focuses on what they call hardtail questions.
The difficult queries where one search isn't enough.
Right, they require multi-hop queries, synthesizing info across several documents.
And here's a great efficiency insight. Gemini 3 Pro gets the highest performance in the search category. But it does so while conducting fewer searches on average than most of the other top models.
What were the numbers on that?
Gemini 3 Pro averaged 3.39 searches, while Grok 4 averaged 4.5.
So high performance doesn't always need brute force. It seems to need a better search strategy.
Exactly. Now the final pillar, FACTS grounding v2.
This one tests if long-form responses are based entirely on documents you provide. It's the model's obedience test. Did it stick to the script?
And the sources emphasize this brilliant methodological check here. They disqualify ineligible responses.
Which is so important.
It is. It stops a model from gaming the system by giving you these short, vague, useless answers that might be technically factual but completely ignore what you asked for.
So if we pull all four of these pillars together, the result is, well, it's sobering. The current top model, Gemini 3 Pro, gets an aggregate SCTS score of 68.8%.
68.8.
That fact alone just underscores one critical point. Even with the best general models and the most comprehensive testing, there is still enormous room for improvement.
This challenge is not solved by scale alone. And this leads us perfectly to that second, highly specialized path. If these massive general models are still struggling to break 70%, maybe the answer isn't universal generalization.
Maybe it's architectural specialization.
Right.
This brings us to the neurosymbolic AI paradigm. The easiest way to think of it is blending the creative, flexible mind, that's the neural transformer part, with a strict, auditable rulebook.
The symbolic component.
And that rulebook is often a knowledge graph, or KG.
So these knowledge graphs, with their structured subject-relation-object triples, they're basically the explicit, auditable memory that a normal LLM just doesn't have. They offer interpretability.
But you can't just use any KG for high-stakes domains. To be truly reliable, the sources say a KG has to meet two critical characteristics. First, factuality and provenance.
Meaning every single fact, every triple, has to be traceable back to a source text with a real citation.
Exactly. And second, validity. It must strictly follow an ontological schema.
What does that mean in simple terms?
It means the relationships have to make logical sense within a specific domain. So in medicine, you can't just link any two concepts. The link has to follow established biological rules.
And this level of rigor is exactly what led to GraphMERT. It's a compact, encoder-only model, only 80 million parameters, designed specifically to distill high-quality, domain-specific KGs. It's the ultimate targeted counter-approach to these huge generalist LLMs.
And the reason this small, specialized model is so necessary is because the big general LLMs just fail at building reliable, domain-specific KGs.
Why?
They fall short because of prompt sensitivity, they have really shallow domain expertise, and they just hallucinate relationships. And that's totally unacceptable in a field like medicine or law.
We see this contrast laid out so vividly in the medical case study in the source material. They're looking at KG extraction from complex PubMed papers on diabetes.
And the results are just astounding. The GraphMERT extracted KG from that tiny 80 million parameter model, it achieved a 69.8% FACT score.
Almost 70%.
And a 68.8% validity score. Now compare that to a baseline LLM KG generated by a truly massive 32 billion parameter model.
Okay.
That generalist LLM scored only a 40.2% FACT score and a 43.0% validity score.
Wait. That is an astronomical difference. We're talking about a model that is over 400 times smaller.
Yes.
Delivering nearly 70% reliability, while the massive generalist can't even crack 50%. I have to challenge this. Are we absolutely sure this is an apples-to-apples comparison? Is the small model just cheating by being so hyper-focused?
It's focused, yes. But the failure of the generalist models isn't just about a lack of focus. It's about a systematic failure to adhere to constraints. That's the validity score. The LLMs, they fall prey to simple, spurious word correlation instead of genuine semantic understanding.
How does that failure actually manifest?
Well, the paper details this devastating reverse test using chronic kidney disease, or CKD.
Okay.
When you prompt it with text that describes subtle cerebellar gray matter abnormalities in CKD patients, the big general LLMs, Gemini 2.5 Pro, GPT-5, Grok 4, they frequently hallucinate. They claim the finding site of the disease is the cerebellar gray matter.
Because they saw those words associated with CKD in the text and just followed the correlation.
Exactly. So the confused site as just a location mentioned in the text instead of the actual anatomical structure required by the schema. The LLM failed to understand that finding site means the source organ of the disease.
Which, for chronic kidney disease, has to be the kidney.
Right. The authoritative medical knowledge base, UMLS, dictates it has to be the kidney structure. GraphMERT, despite its tiny size, recovered the correct UMLS gold answer.
So if you try to use a general LLM for medical synthesis today, you could get an answer that sounds perfectly fluent but is medically nonsensical. It confused the symptom location with the disease's home base. That is terrifyingly relevant for anyone trying to apply this tech.
And GraphMERT avoids this precisely because it uses that symbolic structure, the KG, which forces verifiable rigor. Crucially, the system gives you traceability to the source sequence for every triple.
So it has clear provenance.
Clear provenance, and it integrates knowledge globally across the whole corpus, which is a sharp contrast to the purely local myopic extraction of the general LLMs.
So what does this all mean? We've seen two really equally necessary paths to achieving reliability. First is the broad, comprehensive testing with the FACTS Leaderboard,
Which acts as a mirror, showing us exactly how far we still have to go.
with the best general models still falling short of 70% overall factuality. And the second path is that deep, domain-specific specialization with GraphMERT,
Which offers a blueprint for guaranteeing accuracy and verifiability where it matters most.
The core tension remains.
Generalist LLMs give you incredible breadth and flexibility, but they demonstrably struggle with verifiable high-stakes factuality. Specialized neurosymbolic models, on the other hand, offer transparency, rigor, and vastly superior accuracy in critical domains.
But their knowledge is deliberately limited in scope.
It has to be.
And this leads to our final thought for you. The fact that a specialized, small, 80 million parameter model can so vastly outperform a 32 billion parameter general LLM in factual validity, well, it suggests that the future of reliable AI in critical domains might not be defined by maximizing model size. It might be defined by architectural choices that favor auditable symbolic representation over sheer scale. So the question for you is, in fields where trust is absolutely paramount like medicine, law, or financial compliance, should AI innovation focus on maximizing scale and general capability or on guaranteeing verifiable certainty?